everyone. My name is Satyam, and I am the current lead at Matrix, the DataScience club of our college. And I welcome you all to the second episode of our podcast series. So, in this episode, we have our senior Ashraf Bhaiya. Hello, Bhaiya.
Hello.
So, Ashraf Bhaiya, he is currently into the domain of AI, ML, and data science, and he has been an ex-intern in Dell. So, Ashraf Bhaiya, please introduce to everyone. Yeah.
So, hey everyone. So, I am Ashraf Ali. I am currently from UG4 doing my Bachelor's of Technology in CSC. So, and I am also pursuing my honors degree under Rakesh sir. So, under Rakesh sir and both Anish sir. And my problem statement is like for surface EMG signals. So, basically classification of surface EMG signals in case of ADL activities. So that is my research problem statement I am currently working on, and I am continuing my research.
Okay, that's great. So before moving further, I would like to even tell that Ashraf Bhaiya was the co-lead of Matrix last year. He was not much seen, but I think you knew about all the activities going on in the last year, and yeah. So we have been knowing for each other for, I think, I've been doing generative AI since past 4 to 5 months, and Ashraf Bhaiya was the one who's guiding me from the beginning in this field. So, Bhaiya, my first question is that can you please tell about how did you start your journey in the field of data science and artificial intelligence when you entered into your college? Because I think when you came in the college, it was online, right? The first
the first semester was online.
Yeah. So how did you manage to cover the things in first semester and
So actually the first semester was online. So it was like around 3 months. So after first semester we were allowed to come to the campus. So from the second semester it was all offline. So from the second semester we had all the classes going on and everything. So basically I was not much aware about the situation, like what has to be done. So I was going through all my subjects, just understanding. At that time I was pretty good at coding. So basically before coming to the college I was doing Python. So in Python I was doing normal stuff, basic list, dictionary, all these things. And before coming to the college I was in VAT. So basically 2-3 months of VAT. I joined
Okay,
VAT.
so you had already joined VAT?
Yeah, I have joined VAT, and then the counseling started for JEE mains.
Okay.
So that was the previous experience at VAT. So the first 2-3 months were actually good for me. It helped me how to actually listen to classes, how the online system works. So basically, and also they were teaching Python. So in that way I was with my help of my mother. So my mother is basically she's CSC HOD for JNTU Kalikiri College.
Okay.
So you might have heard of JNTU. So, and she's pretty good with coding. So I learned from her coding and stuff. And from first semester, second semester, and third semester, also fourth semester, I was doing a bit of coding. I was doing this DSA, ADSA, all these things, all the stuff you guys do in the lab. So I was doing that, and in the fourth semester we had this FSD course.
Okay.
So
yeah.
front-end
course.
So basically I was doing that, I did pretty much all the things that are there in that semester, like CSS, JavaScript, HTML, then Git, all those things. So basically I even at that point of time I did not have any thing in my mind that I have to go this way. So either I have to go to software development or AI. So basically I was confused, and after doing my fourth semester I was not able to actually make up my mind what path I have to choose. So basically after my evaluation, NSEM evaluation of that FSD project, I just came out and I met one of my senior, his name is Fanindra.
Okay.
So basically he was talking to one of my group members. So I just went him and I just openly asked him, see Bhaiya, this is the so basically this is my situation. I have experienced this software development and all these things, but I think I'm not pretty much into it. This does not work for me. The thing is, I am interested in AI, but I don't know how to start it, where to start it. I thought after my NSEM evaluation, I'll go to all the faculty, I'll ask them what to do, what projects I have to do, what courses I have to learn. So I just went him, and he suggested me that just go to Rakesh sir and talk about it. So he's the one. He's pretty good with the AI one. So go meet Rakesh sir. So I just went to Rakesh sir, straight to Rakesh sir, and I just said that, sir, this is my situation. I have not done any AI thing. Like I don't know what is AI. Like how to become a data science or AI engineer or something like that. So I just asked him like what to do. So then he gave me like, okay, are you really interested? Are you interested in research? I said, sir, I have no idea, literally no idea what is research. So basically, then he said, okay, I'll give you one course, like couple of courses in the summer, like the next, like we had a summer vacation. So this is after my fourth sem. So in the summer vacation, he gave me some couple of courses. One was machine learning and other was deep learning. Both are Udemy courses.
Okay, Udemy courses.
So basically, I have started learning from that courses, and I have started implementing the courses, the notebook files they give. So basically, run on Collab, run on my Anaconda environment, everything. Then I started to like see, okay, this is what machine learning is, this is what deep learning is. So from that, my journey began. So from that, my research problem, everything has been there.
Okay, so basically, in short, till fourth semester, you were till the development side.
Yes.
And from the summer vacations of your second year, after the second year, you were into AI and ML,
Yes.
right? Okay. So now your field of expertise is in natural language processing, LLMs, and everything, right? As far as
not exactly natural language processing, but I would say like CNNs and transformers, like vision and.
Okay, so it's more vision and
yeah,
it's more towards vision related.
Yes, mostly towards vision.
Okay. Now, one question which many of the people are confused till the point of deep learning, like till RNNs, we all study the same thing, whether it's a data scientist, it's a machine learning engineer, or anyone. Now, there are two paths: computer vision and NLP. Right? So, what would you recommend to a person?
So actually, there is.
And one more thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you. One more question is that, like, what are the resources of these both places? If you would tell to the audience, it will be really very great, because people don't have that resource much right now.
Yeah. So actually, the course that I took, it covered almost up to CNNs, LSTMs, and GRU. So actually, after LSTMs and GRUs, there isn't much about vision. Like you have sub problems in vision, like diffusion models.
Correct.
Then other like some we have these YOLO models, like image classifications, like image detection, object recognition. So basically, these are the sub problems like where these vision models are used. But apart from that, there is not much, like there isn't any architecture for vision, I would say. I mean, like we have ResNet, we have AlexNet, we have VGG, we have all those things. So basically, apart from that, we have transformers. So what happened is, like in 2017, transformers model came from Google Research. They introduced the transformer model. So what they did is, this transformer model has become state of the art in all other fields, in vision, in NLP, in other tasks, like in everything, in medical also. So basically, in for every other things, like this vision, like this transformers model has been the state of the art. So basically, after GRU, after LSTM, and after RNNs, we have this transformers model. So from this transformer model, you can either go to NLP or you can go for other transformers based.
Okay, so the right path is first go through the LSTMs, GRUs, then your attention mechanisms, you have those encoder, decoder, transformers, and then you go towards CNN.
Either you go for right now the LLMs, or you go for
those architectures like ResNet,
other domains based on transformers, because in every other domain, the transformer architecture has been the state of the art. So basically, they tweak some parameters like the input layer, the output layer, and in between some of the changes, and they adapt the transformers model to their particular domain. Right now, that is what I am currently doing. So I am tweaking that transformer architecture so that it suits for my EMG signals data. So that is how basically the evolution started for apart from LSTM, GRU. So that transformer architecture paper actually changed many things. So from that, the evolution has begun, and right now we are currently in LLMs. So basically, before LLMs, we had this NLP task like text summarization,
Sentiment analysis.
machine translation. So basically, and right now it's somewhat advanced, and people are now looking at some of the advanced NLP areas like evaluation. Like suppose there is some text generated. How do you know actually that the text generated by that LLM model is actually perfect? So that itself is one of the research problem.
Okay.
So for that,
Evaluating your model.
evaluating our LLM models itself a research problem. Like it's a research problem right now. So like we have like 4 to 5 research statements in that, and that is currently the thing going on. So that is like what are the fine tuning techniques? How do you actually compress the model? Like all the parameters are like the ChatGPT 3.5. I guess it has like 175 billion parameters. Not everyone can run that. So basically, for that to quantize that model, there are again few other techniques like we have this AWQ, then GPTQ, bits and bytes. So basically, these are like research problem statements. So these are like sub problem statements.
Okay, so if anyone has to go into this field of generative AI and everything, then it is must that you should adapt that research learning techniques rather than of what you study for a corporate job, right? Okay. Now let us go step by step.
Yeah.
Now let's say that I have done everything in machine learning and deep learning. People over here pretty much are confident enough for machine learning and deep learning. Now, when we entered into the field of generative AI, there we have LLMs and everything. What is the difference between a large language model and a normal machine learning model and a normal deep learning model? Could you just tell a difference between that?
Okay, so normal LLMs, machine learning model,
And deep learning model.
So coming to machine learning models, it's basically it has a predefined task for it. Like it's like if you take SVM, it is for classification of multi classes and everything. Then you have linear regression, logistic regression. All these are machine learning models. It is specified for a linear separated task. Like it can solve linearly separable problems. You need not have complex deep learning models for linearly separable problems. So then you come to deep learning models. So in deep learning models, what happened is like you have this thing called neural networks. So this neural network, what it does is it learns very complex relations between the data, and through back propagation and all, it adjusts its parameters. So basically, it's like more of a complex structure than the machine learning models. So it's basically for the task where how basically the reader doesn't know, like actually the scientist doesn't know how the classification works. So when the classification we don't know how it works, then we use deep learning models. So basic classification tasks are majorly done by machine learning models, and they are used everywhere. So even in today's world, machine learning models are very popular among, like in Amazon, in other Google research. So mostly everyone uses this machine learning models. Basically, they have their predefined tasks. They have their class labels and everything. So basically, machine learning models are even used today. So then we have this deep learning model where where complex architecture comes into place, like complex relationships. Then we have LLMs. So basically, LLMs are trained on large number of data sets. So large number of data actually. So the data, it's like trillions of tokens of data with thousands of GPUs. So they are particularly fine-tuned for one of the text generation or text summarization or machine translation. So this basically LLMs depend mostly on transformer architecture, not entirely on transformer architecture. Recently, there are other papers where LLMs have been built by recurrent neural networks.
Okay, recurrent
neural networks.
Okay, that's interesting.
So that is one thing. So basically, basically LLMs are nothing but it is predefined for some particular task. And even in LLMs, we have multimodal things. So where multimodal in the sense it can process text, image, video all at a time.
Okay.
So that is basically the difference. So, but what I would suggest is before coming to LLMs, first you have to get the basics of NLP. So in NLP, we have anagrams, we have word to vec, we have TDF, IDF scoring. So
skip grams.
So basically, first try to get what all these things are, like what is the thing, what actually it does. So if you implement a formula, like what exactly it does, what is happening in the back. So basically try to learn the maths behind it. Just don't go for directly into LLMs. It doesn't make any sense. If you are some software developer, then you can just learn the basics of LLMs, because right now every company will incorporate LLMs. I mean, some kind of AI stuff in this, and the basic AI stuff they can do is some generating, like creating some chatbot. So for chatbot, yes. So for chatbot, they can simply use this LLMs. So for software developers, they need not know what are all the math behind these LLMs. But for a researcher, if you are into research, then you have to know the basics of it, like from where it evolved. So
is this even for the person who is going to the corporate world also? Like like there is a very thin line between the people who are going for a corporate job in LLMs and the people who are going into research. Because like personally, where I have given interviews, I have been rejected at some point of places. They are saying me that you have to read research paper. But some people say that no, you have to not. So where is the difference? Like till where to stop in that?
So actually, for corporate people, like if you are not into research, you just want to work for some company or for some company in terms of like data scientist role or some kind of roles. So basically, you have to have the basic knowledge of this NLP things. So basically, they'll ask you, like before going to LLMs, not everyone will dive straight into LLMs. They'll basically ask you what is an anagram, what is word to wake, how these words are converted into tokens, then embeddings. So
they'll ask the
these
maths behind it.
simple, not maths. Basically, they'll test you with the terminology.
Okay.
If you are aware with the terminology, or if you have ever heard of the terminology, what is the terminology? You just have to okay, this is this. Then after this, like there are companies, like if it is research based company, like few companies, what they do is like they do research, they do this product also. So they both develop the product and they do research on their particular task. So what you have to do is like if they are into some specific domain, like if in the case of chatbots or everything, you just have to see like which models are popular right now, and you just have to know why they are popular. So why they are popular, what makes that model different from the other models. Like if you have Llama 3, then the Llama 3 architecture. Basically, you just have to say, you just have to see what is the Llama 3 architecture, what makes it different from the other architectures like Mistral. You just have to know what is that. You need not know how it works. But for a researcher, you have to know how that works. Basically,
So basically, I'm trying to tell I should, as a researcher, I should know the basic difference why a particular model version is better than the other one. Like let's say why Llama 3.1 is better than Llama 3.
Yes.
This should be known by a researcher.
Researcher and basically in researcher they deep dive into all the models. But for an incorporate point of view, you just need to just see like what are all the models are there. Suppose Llama and Mistral. Just see why this works for this particular task and why this works for this particular task. Just know that the differences are there. So for getting these differences, you have to read some
Research papers.
Research papers. If you are not comfortable reading research papers, you can read blogs on Medium. There are like plenty of blogs, plenty of resources on YouTube, on in websites, in Medium. You have like plenty of resources. You can just refer them, and you can just have a gist of what is happening, why this works, why this doesn't work. Just a basic overview. And for in point of research, if the person is really interested in research for LLMs in that field, then he has to know every technical terms. Then he has to know what maths behind it, how the maths works, then how architecture works, then how to build the architecture from scratch. If there is Llama 3, then try to build the Llama 3 from scratch. Because that is open source model. That means that you can implement the model by yourself.
Correct.
But you cannot train on thousands of like trillions of tokens. But at least you can build the model. You can just train, fine tune. You can just quantize it to some lower versions of 4-bit or 8-bit or models. Then you can fine tune it for your data set or some other problem statement. Then you can just test it if my model is performing well or not. Or else what you can do is you can load the previous model with the model that you created from scratch, and you can just test it out. So basically, he has to know how to code, even if he codes, like he has to understand why this is working, what is the difference between this architecture and the previous transformer architecture. So basically, yeah. So basically, this is what basically research and corporate should do. So corporate, a high level view of these things, but for a researcher, he has to
in-depth intuition of
yeah,
everything, whatever is happening
everything
in that
from
model.
the evolution of NLP. So he has to get all these techniques, all the things. So then go to transformers, then go to the next step of transformers. So basically, after transformers, there are like several research papers that have performed they have they have increased the accuracy of the previous using the same transformer, but with a bit of what do you call, with changes,
Fine tuning on everything.
with changes in the architecture. So basically in
Like BERT.
yes,
BERT is based upon the transformer.
yes.
Then there is
So-
robot, then other architectures. Like
Yes.
that. Yeah.
So basically in transformers we have layer normalization, but in terms of Llama 3 architecture, if you see, they use something called as RMS normalization.
Okay.
So this RMS normalization is separate research topic.
Okay.
Like they have written a research paper why this works. If we incorporate RMS normalization instead of layer normalization, the accuracy is good.
So that depth of RMS and layer, this should be known by researchers.
Yes, this should be known by researcher. Why this works, why this doesn't
Yeah.
work.
And for a corporate person, layer normalization works in transformers,
Yes.
whereas RMS normalization works in Llama. That's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
he just has to see okay, this is
This is the
in
thing
this,
which is used over
this
here.
is used in this. But there are some key elements where he has to know the maths behind it also. Basically, batch normalization, layer normalization, how the optimizer works, how loss function works.
That's the basic.
That's the
deep learning.
basic things everyone has to know if they are into AI. Like if they are into data science, or if they are into corporate or research, they have to basically know these things. Basically, this optimizers, learning rate schedulers, how this works, maths behind it. These are like the basic stuff everyone should know, irrespective of their domain.
Okay.
So that is what I feel.
Okay. So you had mentioned many models like Llama, Mistral, and everyone. So to the people who are new over here, you just introduce what are some open source and some paid models provided by the company. So it will be good for their information.
Okay. So basically we have some paid. So basically not all the LLMs are open source. Few are open source and few are not open source. So coming to the paid versions, we have this ChatGPT. So ChatGPT doesn't ChatGPT by OpenAI, it doesn't reveal its architecture because of its confidentiality, or because they have their purposes. So they did not release their it's not open source model. So basically that, and we have this Cloudy model by Anthropic. So that is also not open sourced. So that also we have to purchase it, purchase the API key and then do the stuff we want. So these are the open source not the open source models. And open source models, we have plenty of open source models. If you go to Hugging Face, then you will find many models in that. One is from Google Research, we have this Roberta model, BERT model, and even in Roberta, in BERT, we have subdivisions, specifically for speech recognition there is one model, for text generation there is one
Okay, you're
model.
talking about Albert, Distilbert, and all those
Yes.
variations, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They have their the main model is BERT, but they fine tune for that particular domain and they release it with other names. So that is so BERT. Then we have this Vicuna. Then we have Falcon. Falcon is one famous model when it got released. Then we have Mistral, and the most famous is Llama.
Llama.
So this is the most famous one. And
So Llama is by Facebook. Yeah.
Yes. So and recently Nvidia and Microsoft has been introducing their models. So Nvidia NIM or
Nvidia
there is,
NIM is something
I'm not sure exactly what is the name, but in Microsoft we have Phi3 models.
Yeah,
Phi3,
Phi2 models.
Yeah. So those models. So basically, everyone is they are not that much popular because Llama 3 mostly outperforms other models.
So in maximum use cases, like I'm talking about the corporate sector side, like maximum cases in the open source side is Llama is used.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Llama, and not the exact Llama model, but there are people who fine tune that llama
For
model
specific use cases.
for specific use case, and they keep it in their directory, like in their directory, so that in Dell what happened is like we used the llama 3 model only, but we used both llama 3 the original version and a SQL fine tuned version of it.
Okay.
So it's called defog llama 3. So
That's a name.
Yes.
You had kept that name.
No. The one who has fine-tuned it, he has designed a name for it as defog llama 3, where it has been fine-tuned on some SQL, like text-to SQL kind of scenario. So we have used that. And this llama 3 chat instruct model.
Okay, alright.
So this is how basically this open source and
okay. So here coming to the LLMs, like you have discussed about, there are many LLM models in the market, right? There are something called as LIM models also, large image models, and there are multi-models basically. Okay, so we have a bit of introduction about this topic. Now, how to use these LLMs? Because many of the people, they just know through APIs.
Yes.
And that is, many people tell that, okay, fine, we'll just use OpenAI API key, we'll use Gemini. Gemini is for Google if no one knows.
Yes.
So this is the basic procedure where we start. What is the other use case? Let's say that I'm working on a complex project. There we can't use just the OpenAI API keys, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end it's just a basic Streamlit app. So how are you going to use those LLMs over there?
So actually, to use LLMs, so for the paid versions, so basically you have to have definitely you have to have API key, which is paid. So you just have to credit some amount, and then you have that API key, and for this many number of tokens, it charges this much amount. So that is the basic API key. And after having that API key, you basically set the environment. After setting the environment, then you have methods for it. So basically for Gemini there are some separate methods. For OpenAI there are some separate methods. But what you can do is you can use frameworks like LangChain and Llama Index.
Okay.
What this does is it allows the API key, like it takes the API key and it has its own functions and methods where it can call the function, like it can take the input, take the prompt and generate the response in a such a way that we can customize it, and also we can fine tune it. So basically in the documentation, if you go to their documentation and if you see the methods and other functions they have, and all the libraries they have, all the libraries covers everything, like what this library does for this, this for this, and if you want fine tuning, just type like LangChain fine tuning part. So it gives the library where the fine tuning is used and what kind of functions are used and what kind of methods are used. You just try to follow the documentation and you just implement it if it is working for your data set or not. So basically frameworks have their own functions, and basically you can choose either LangChain or Llama Index, and you can use them with their own methods.
Okay, so what is the difference between LangChain framework and Llama Index framework?
Okay, so LangChain is basically developed by OpenAI for integrating all these LLMs. So basically to play around with LLMs.
So at the end, the base, what LangChain is made of is for OpenAI primarily.
Primarily OpenAI.
OpenAI.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Basically it is developed by OpenAI. So it has some some kind of specific packages to OpenAI. It allows some kind of works to be specifically done for OpenAI models.
Okay.
So that is basically OpenAI, and Llama Index is obviously introduced by Meta. So that is one thing. I guess it's Meta only. I just have to check that.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is one thing, and so basically this is for both are for like playing around with large language models. But this is LangChain is from OpenAI and Llama Index is from this Meta.
Any major differences in the use case of both the frameworks?
No, there is no much difference. Few of them have good methods. Like in Llama Index, we have this few advanced techniques where we can just call the function.
Okay.
So that is one great advantage of using Llama Index.
Okay.
And basically to work with LLMs and Hugging Face models, these platforms are pretty much like these libraries are pretty much everything. You just have to know how to actually play around and how to integrate with your project or code you have.
Okay. Okay, so bhaiya, coming to the projects, like I wanted to know what kind of projects did you implement in your third year and fourth year? Like, let's start from machine learning, then deep learning, then we'll come to generative AI. So, what projects like helped you to stand in those companies?
Okay, so projects in the sense I did not think too much like out of the box projects because I wanted my basics to be clear. So basics in the sense when I started with machine learning course from Udemy, so there they have their own style of teaching, own style of coding, everything. I tried to do that because I was not understanding why they were doing that, why they have used that particular method itself, why not other methods. So basically in that they'll basically introduce the methods, they'll introduce the data pre-processing techniques. So I just try to do whatever they have been doing, and then I'm replicating it in myself in my laptop, and I'm just trying to do the things. In that we have classification, like one of the popular is iris dataset.
Okay, iris.
So iris dataset you
Satosa
might
and
have,
everything.
so iris dataset, then we have wine quality dataset. Basically what are all the datasets you guys worked in
Titanic.
machine learning course.
Yeah.
Same thing they have been doing in that course also. So I was doing these kind of things, and I was learning this data pre-processing techniques. So we have this robust scaler, standard scaler, how this works, how to actually write those functions, I was basically concentrating more on the syntax and data pre-processing techniques. I was not more into projects because those are the minimum projects everyone must do, because those are like the standard projects everyone must do. So then I came into deep learning. In deep learning, I started with, and even in deep learning, I did not do much outside of the course. The projects that are there in the course itself, that itself I have done. So the one is MNIST classifier.
Okay, MNIST classifier.
Yeah, MNIST classifier. Basically, you have digits from 0 to 9, and you have to classify them. And basically, using feed forward neural network, you can do that. You can use using CNN. So even in that, I was concentrating more on the syntax, and I was concentrating more on the this data pre-processing part, because in deep learning, for handling images, there are like various data augmentation techniques, data pre-processing. There are like various things you have to do before before sending your data into the model. So I was learning the stuff where how basically the data is going into the model. So I was more concentrated on this data augmentation techniques and syntaxes, basically the training loop, testing loop, the validation loops, how they are being written. So then from that I was also doing this optimizer, learning rate schedulers, loss functions, backpropagation in feed forward neural network. I was learning these things because these are the basic things. If you are okay with these things, then you can implement any deep learning project or machine learning project. So I was concentrating on these things, and the most like the out of the box I would say for me is that when I came into research, my journey to learning transformers began. So before diving into transformers, I was doing LSTMs, RNNs. I was preparing from YouTube the architecture itself. So I was learning these architectures, then transformer architecture. Then what I did is I have implemented the transformer architecture from scratch without any inbuilt libraries. So and that one project, building transformers architecture from scratch and fine tuning it for my like English to Italian dataset.
Okay.
So that is one machine translation project that I did, like which I felt that it should be done because I am majorly working with transformer models. So I thought like why not build a transformer model from scratch and do this machine translation task, because machine translation is used everywhere. Because it is one of the major projects you have to do when you are doing NLP.
Okay.
For NLP, that is a must. So I was thinking like why not build transformers from scratch and do that.
So this is from the research point of view. What about a person who is going into a company?
Okay, so for the person who is going into the company, so transformers are everywhere, right? So basically you do a project based on transformers either from scratch or either for a specific problem statement or that kind of stuff which is somewhat unique. So basically if they did not do for using transformers, you try to use transformers and you just compare it, and you just write a description of it in your resume saying that this is the thing I have done and this much of accuracy has been improved from the previous RN or LSTM model. Okay. So that is one project. Another project is like vision based project. Okay. One should have at least one vision based project, and for a vision based project we have multiple things. Like you can choose one of the sub problem, like any sub problem, as I said. You can do image object detection models,
image segmentation.
Yeah, image segmentation, because so basically these vision based projects. And what I would suggest is, instead of doing the projects that are there in the YouTube, you try to read a research paper where you have interest. Suppose you have interest in YOLO models, you have interest in implementing YOLO models, and try to find a use case of YOLO models. Okay. You will find plenty of research papers based on YOLO models, and you take any famous research paper from well-known journal or conference, take that architecture, read that research paper, and try to implement that research paper and put it on your resume. So that while doing this, you will understand the whole architecture, the whole purpose of it, the whole thing. You can explain to the interviewer that this is what I have implemented, and this has a pretty good use case for this particular scenario. So that it's like somewhat uniqueness. It's not like normal common project. Mm-hmm. So that is one thing. One is vision based. One is obviously transformers based.
What about Gen AI projects?
Gen AI projects, like you have multiple.
I think we have RAG projects.
Yes, you have RAG projects. So basically.
But I have one question. Like, it always goes in my head that, okay, we are building a RAG project. That's fine. But then that is a Streamlit app, yes, isn't it?
Yes.
So we do have those function calling and everything. You are importing the text recursive character text splitter, then you're embedding it and doing everything. Yes. But at the end, that is a Streamlit app.
Yes.
Hardly that line is of 4
4 lines.
lines code and everything. And entire Streamlit app will be of some 140 to 200 lines.
Yes.
Even in my initial days when I was doing generative AI, you told me the first very thing that if you are doing a RAG project, that will hardly take 40 minutes.
Yes.
That still has importance. That is not digestible by me. I'm like 40 minutes project. We spend a normal data science project collecting the data, yes, pre-processing it. That goes around 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yes, yes.
But a simple generative AI RAG project goes for 40 minutes. So is it really fine with that, or?
As I said, like first you can get a gist of it. You can just do it.
Okay.
You just do it. Then you try to see like why this has been done. If you see RAG, there is some segmentation part, like chunks, segmenting into chunks. So see why they are doing it, and what is the next part. Then they'll load the data sets, then they turn into chunks, then this is stored in some vector bases. Then this retrievers used via using the retrievers. First, if you want to learn generative AI, just first do some projects, then you try to divide the whole project into like this retriever part, this RAG part, then the vector bases, then the data part. Then you try to dig deep into this, and you just try to understand by this. Because in generative AI projects, what happens is like you really don't have some.
Like we have a very less sample space in generative AI projects. It can be machine translation, chatbot. Everywhere, wherever you go in generative AI, people are saying chatbot. Now it can be a medical chatbot, it can be an e-commerce website chatbot. So at the end, it depends on, are you able to implement those things in that specific domain or not, right? Okay. Now coming to your internships, like as we all know that you were placed in Dell, like I think 2 to 3 members were only.
2 members, me and myself and Kushal.
Yeah, so 2 people only were placed. That was one good thing. And one more good thing was that Dell had come here. So we got that motivation that we need to go. That was actually a shock because we didn't know that Dell is coming.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was your interview experience in Dell? How many rounds were there? Yeah, let's start from that point.
Okay. So actually Dell, it was the first time Dell was coming to this campus. So and they were hiring for data science interns. There is no intern plus PPO or like SLP plus full time. There was no such thing. They are coming here just for hiring some data science interns. And I just before that I already had a internship letter from one of the startup based in Mumbai. So I thought I'll go there. But then this came and I just gave my resume. So I just gave my resume and they have shortlisted like 10-15 people, and there were 3 rounds basically. So the first round basically had some one coding question, DSA question.
So how important is DSA? Please tell me that.
I'll tell you. So the first round was
I'm
DSA.
tired of DSA.
Yeah. So DSA and then the simple review of your resume.
Okay.
That is first round. The second round was totally resume based and totally it was like deep dive into your resume and
Projects, skill set, and everything.
what you have been doing. So those kind of stuff. And the third round, the final round is the HR round. So basically in the first round they asked DSA question. For me they asked like kth largest element in an array.
Okay, that's an array. Okay, I'm happy.
Okay,
It's not dynamic programming and everything.
No. They just wanted to see if I can do that coding or not. I mean that much of coding or not. Just basic coding.
Okay.
But the thing is, I did not do it.
Okay, you did not do
I was not able to do this because the previous 2-3 days I was only preparing for my data science, and I was into my research, and third semester was my last DSA preparation and all. So after that I did not focus too much on DSA. So
This is a new motivation for me. This man has been placed in Dell. He doesn't know DSA. Even I don't know DSA. I have a confidence that I can be placed.
Actually, I was able to do it.
Okay.
But it was not proper.
Okay.
I mean, you can do it with some this greedy approach. But in that 15 minutes, I was not able to do because I was not able to do much of coding and at that time.
It was an online round?
Yes, online round. So basically the first 15 minutes went to the DSA and I was not able to do. Then he asked me about my projects. The first project I mentioned was CNN LSTM ensemble learning based EEG signal. Like for EEG signals, you deploy this CNN LSTM model and you just train it, and
you're basically training on EEG data.
EEG data on
using LSTMs.
CNN LSTM.
CNN LSTM. Okay.
CNN plus LSTM and ensemble of it. So basically that was the first project. The second project was Transformers machine translation project.
From the scratch, which you mentioned
from
earlier.
Scratch, that one. So basically that was the first project, right? He asked me, okay, now tell me what is the difference between standard vanilla RNN and LSTM. So the previous few days what I was doing is I was preparing RNN architecture, LSTM architecture, Transformers architecture. Like I was in-depth preparation, like how it works, why this works,
Makes sense. That is the base.
Yeah, that is the basic thing. I was preparing that. So he asked me from that itself what is the basic difference between LSTM and RNN, why LSTM works better than RNN. So from that I was able to answer that question, and then he asked me like what is the difference between LSTM and Transformers. If you have LSTM, why do we need Transformers? That is one thing. And also he asked, in Transformers we have this thing called as attention, multi-headed self-attention. Even in that we have number of heads.
Yes.
So he asked me like what happens if number of heads is 1?
Okay.
So if there is only one single head, what happens? Why is it important? And basically
he had asked what if multi-head attention mechanism is not there in that?
Not that way, but in multi-headed self-attention, what if the number of heads is 1? So basically he was deep diving into this
architecture of
RNN, LSTM, Transformers, these 3 architectures. In the next 15 minutes he completely covered all the top things in there. So basically the one who has pretty good clarity how these things works, how the back propagation works, how what is the max behind it, they can easily explain that. And I have been preparing these architectures for my research from the starting day of my research. I was preparing RNN and LSTM Transformers, why they were different, why this works, why this doesn't work. So I was able to pretty much answer everything he asked me. So even then I was not convinced that I will be moving on to the second round, because I was not able to do a simple DSA question, which is kth largest element in an array. Because I was like I was not satisfied with my thing. So I was waiting, and then we had results. Then I got I got qualified to the second round. Okay, I thought like, okay, maybe not DSA, but he was satisfied with my deep learning.
That's the main thing which you are working on.
Yes. So, and it's basically data science intern. If it is like some software intern, or he might have removed me. So then in the second round there was the data science manager. So he asked me like all the projects and like all the LLM stuff. At the time there, as I said, we can do LLM project in 30 minutes because we don't do fine tuning stuff in that. So because of that, it takes very less time for us. We are already using the models that has been pre-trained on some billions of trillions of tokens. So that we are using. So basically, I was doing this.
But that is accepted at a point, right?
For some level, it's accepted. I mean, how the syntax looks, how the model works.
You should know everything of that code, basically.
Yes. Not pin to pin, but you just have to know, okay, this is how the code is written.
Okay.
So basically that, and I was that 30-minute projects at the time before 7-8 months. That was the projects that were feasible to do. Like that was somewhat popular at that time. Not right now. Right now, it's completely different. If you keep that projects in your resume, no one will give a thing. So at the time, that was pretty much popular, and not many were doing. So I kept those like 2-3 projects on LLMs, and I had ChatGPT API key. I have purchased it. Just to learn generative AI. So I have purchased it and I was using it. Then I was able to explain him like what are all the things I was able to do, and basically I was able to I was reading some research papers also. So I was able to explain the research papers that I was reading to I read at that time to him, and he was like pretty much convinced that I am updated. I am able to do LLM, and I am able to do this CNN, LSTM, transformer architectures. So I am pretty well versed with the architectures that are there and with the concepts also. So then, he was pretty much convinced, and then he asked me like if there are any questions for me. Then I asked like what kind of LLM projects you guys do. That is very important. Like if they ask you if you have any questions for me, then you have to definitely ask some meaningful question, because it says that it says to the recruiter that you are well prepared for that role and you are eager to know what kind of things they are doing. Like you know there is LLM, but what kind of things that are doing with that LLMs, like what Dell is doing with those LLMs, what kind of problem statements they are doing. So I was interacting with him with these kind of things, and he was pretty much convinced, and even I was I had hope that I can make it to the third round. So then the results came out, and the third round only me and Kushal got qualified, and it was HR round. So in the third round, HR he asked me like where do you see yourself in like 2-3 years? What kind of research you are working in? And he also asked me like describe yourself in one single word. What would you describe yourself? So basically it's like basic questions about yourself. If you are truly if you are truly a fit for that team, for that particular organization, it's basically some general stuff. Okay. So he just makes sure that you are mentally, physically stable. I mean, not that. I mean, not that one. Like he just want to see, okay, if this person
is fit for my company or not.
If the one he's saying with like the one you are giving answers right, if it makes sense to him or not. So you just want to see that, because if you have experienced that thing in your previous experiences, only then you can answer that. You can't make it up for that experiences. So basically he was looking at my honesty and stuff, and then he said okay, then that round got over, and after like 1 hour we got the results that we have been accepted.
That's great. Did you had any past work experience before Dell? No. So that was your first internship. Oh, that's very good. Okay, so coming to the projects which you worked on the company, like what kind of projects did you work? Like, I know it is confidential, but just an overview.
So actually in Dell, so we had to develop a chatbot. So this chatbot is for internal purpose, not for customers, not for the people who are using Dell products. So basically, this is a chatbot for internal use, and for this internal use, basically we have lakhs of columns of data, lakhs of columns and rows of data, and the major challenge is you have the data, but understanding the what kind of columns required, what kind of columns you have to take from that table. So basically SQL comes into play here. So you have to design a chatbot where it is efficient and optimal, so that for that particular query these kind of attributes are taken and it forms a SQL query. So basically that was the challenging thing for that particular data set. So for that particular data set, you have to get these things done. Like you have to build a chatbot. Basically, a chatbot for internal use. You have like lakhs of data which keeps updating. So you have to make sure that if there is a manager who has some questions regarding that data, if he gives that data, the model should give all the data related to that particular.
Okay, so at the end, this project was, how much I am understanding, it was text to SQL commands.
Yes, basically that is the core for that.
So normal whatever problem statements we solve in SQL, those questions basically, right?
Questions,
like
yes.
retrieve this column from this data set, I want this detail, so we write an SQL query.
Yeah,
That is what
we need not write SQL query here.
Yeah.
We just write some simple
prompt. Okay.
Yeah, this prompt has to be converted into some good SQL query.
Okay.
Because it has to specifically do this thing. Like it has to convert this prompt into SQL query, and if the SQL query is correct, only then the answer will be correct. So basically, generating this SQL query is the key part here. So we worked on this thing for like 3 months.
Okay, 3 months. It was a 3 months.
3 months internship.
That's nice. Okay, so this was the internship part which we discussed. That was a good thing. But yeah, I mean, really congratulations. Your first internship was in Dell. I mean,
Actually,
did you appear into the Motorx thing in your 5th semester?
Motork, I guess they have come for
ADS.
They have the role was software developer.
Okay,
It was not data science.
They had, I think, a data science role.
They had data science, but the role they offered for internship, I guess it's not for software developer, because everyone was doing software developer projects like simple front end development, back end development. So they were doing that projects. I guess it's not for data science people, it's for software engineering.
Okay, so Bhaiya, coming to juniors, like let's say a guy who's in UG1, what would you advise him to? Like if let's say that he's into data science now, like Bhaiya mujhe data science karna hai, so what would you advise him?
So for UG1 people, what I would suggest is like you definitely have to have some coding skills. Without coding skills, nothing can be done. So you have to have like good Python programming skills. You can develop initially, slowly you can develop, and we have C programming in first semester. You can learn programming. Basically, you just have to concentrate on your subjects first, because CGPA is also important if you want to pursue masters or higher studies. So that is one thing. Focus on your coding, that is important. And also in second semester you will have probability and statistics course. Just rely on it, like just read the book. There are like pretty good references in the, like they give the references. So read that book and try to like get the thing out of it, like how this works, what is that, what is this, understand the terminology. You really can't understand where this is being used unless you have some experience. So basically for UG1, coding and probability statistics is very much important.
Okay, and what about the people who have entered into the field of data science already, like our batch, UG3, UG2, and the people who are currently doing generative AI?
Yeah, so for the currently doing generative AI, it depends if you want to do corporate or research. So I'll first talk about corporate. So as I said, for corporate you just need high level of understanding, and you have to have basic understanding of the optimizer stuff, the basic architectures, like the state of the art architectures like CNNs, LSTMs, then RNNs. You just have to know how this works. High level understanding, not really the max, but high level understanding of what is what, how this thing differs from the other, why this is used instead of that, and
even they should work on the fine tuning part of LLMs also, right?
Fine tuning part of LLMs,
like using those LoRa and QLoRa techniques. The
Yeah,
basic codes, they should be knowing about the
yeah,
codes.
they can do that. Yeah, those can be done, but they'll ask what is LoRa.
Now that's again a big
Yeah,
step.
that is, if you're using fine tuning, they'll ask like what kind of fine tuning method you have used. You will say LoRa or QLoRa, anything like that. Then what is LoRa? What makes it so popular that it is being used? So you just have to have an overview understanding that okay, in LoRa that is low rank adaptation, and this rank matrices are used instead of pre-training the whole network. So basically, you just have to know what is that and what kind of method is being used. If you can watch some YouTube videos how LoRa works, you just keep that in your mind, and if they ask, you can tell that, and they'll be pretty much satisfied that okay, this guy knows LoRa and he has implemented it. So that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and one thing is that, like as you said, your internship, it's been I think 6 to 7 months, right? Like your internship, it's been I think 6 months.
From the start, it's like 5 months.
5 to 6 months.
Yeah, 2.5 months.
Yeah. So at that time, as we discussed, that those 30 minutes projects,
Yes.
those were important.
Those were
now they're not going to ask that.
No.
What are they going to ask?
They are going to ask like right now in my resume, what I have kept is one of the Llama 3 implementation from scratch.
Okay.
So I have implemented the Llama 3 implementation like Llama 3 from scratch, and for that I have read the research paper.
But again, that's for research point of view, right?
Research point of view, and it also implementation from scratch and fine tuning it.
Okay.
It's at the last it is fine tuning, but I have done using the implementing from scratch and then fine tuning it, so that I can tell that what is the architecture differences in Llama 3, why it is so popular, and because of that I came to know that there are like pretty huge differences with the original transformer architecture and this architecture. So what are those things? I just have to know like okay, this has been used. So I got to know all this thing. And other thing is one is like there is this financial data set. So one of the YouTube video itself. So that I have using LoRa itself. I have fine tuned it.
So in short, the person who's going for a job, recent project should be related to fine tuning of LLMs.
Right now, yes, fine tuning and evaluation.
Evaluation of LLMs.
For me in Dell,
There's something called as land graph also. Is that
actually
equally important to fine tuning, or we can just keep it aside?
No, actually it's somewhat related to RAG part. So if you are totally into RAG, if you want to optimize RAG, because just splitting the data into chunks doesn't work all the time, because one chunk may contain a single number which doesn't make any sense.
Correct.
Suppose there is some revenue of the company in some number, and if the chunk contains only the revenue number, it doesn't make any sense for the model that this number corresponds to the revenue.
The revenue part. Yeah.
So they have implemented like that is again one research problem area where they have been continuously doing the research on RAG. They have been doing LangGraph. LangGraph is basically for that is basically a library for in LangChain
for graph databases.
For graph neural networks, and in recent times graph neural networks have been more popular.
Yeah.
So it's like evolution from RAG, like simple RAG to advanced RAG.
Okay, so there's one thing RAG and the other thing is fine tune.
Fine.
So this is for a person who wants to get a job into data science and LLMs. What about a person who want to pursue masters, go into research?
Research for that, basically like right now everyone wanted to do NLP.
Correct.
Even I wanted to do NLP.
Correct. Everyone, maximum 90% of the people.
99%, 100%, everyone wants to do NLP because that is the highest paying job in terms of AML research everywhere.
Like, I'm very sorry for the CV people. Will bring one senior who's associate with CV.
Yeah. So everyone want to do NLP, but the thing is, as I said, it's right now it's NLP, but after 2-3 years, like not 2-3 years, like after 5 years, it might not be NLP. It might be some other domain. Suppose say medical domain. It might be more popular than the NLP one. Everyone is trying to solve medical problems using
ECG and everything.
using those things. Everyone wanted to do medical stuff right now. AlphaFold we have from Google. They have developed AlphaFold for predicting the 3D protein structure for every possible species on planet.
Okay.
So for that they have got the award. So in medical there are like multiple research problem statements which have been unexplored. I mean in terms of AI integration. So it might be popular in some after a few years, and as I said, after a few years, another field is robotics, which I am looking forward to.
Reinforcement learning.
Yes, reinforcement learning and robotics. So that is one area where it's very math heavy. So basically, I am a math guy, and I wanted to, as I said, I'll start my journey for robotics. I'll start with probability statistics. I'll go for a machine learning book. Then for like it's like progressive approach for robotics, because I am interested in robotics. So I wanted to do robotics, and this medical domain also helps me in robotics because I can if I know robotics, then I can integrate my medical knowledge in robotics. As I said, I am doing EMG, right? So EMG is for basically rehabilitation, monitoring,
Muscle
health monitoring.
monitoring.
Yeah, muscle. So basically EMG is for muscle. So based on the muscles, I can predict the activity. Those who don't have any limbs, they can wear this prosthetic and control their arms. So basically, yeah, that's how everything works. So I'm more into like I like robotics, so that's where I'm trying to go. And for research people, as I said, they have to if you are into research, like you want to do research but you are not aware of it, just talk to your faculty, like know all their research statements. First know all their research statement. Don't go and say that okay, I'm interested in research, I want to do LLMs. That's not how it works. You first ask them like what are all the research problems you have been doing and what is your research area.
That's the same situation when a student comes to college. मैं AML करूँगा.
Yeah. So just go to them, ask them. You just create, like we have this PDF where all the research problems are there. So just take the PDF from them. Just see what are all the research problems are there. And as I said, first you concentrate on the basic stuff, basic architectures. Then you go for like in honest, you definitely have to choose a research area and what kind of research area you are working. Then you see which faculty has like which domain is aligning to you, and then you go under that faculty to take honors, pursue that, don't leave it in between, pursue that completely. Then you try, then from that, like you will have awareness of all these things, like all the models you might have worked. You might have worked NLP task at some point of time. You were for side hustling you can do LLMs. I mean like simple projects, as I said. So then main area is research, but you can explore all these things little by little. Then you will at the end of your BTech, now you have pretty much experience working with all kinds of data, images, signals, text, everything. Then you try to go for masters. What is the advantage of masters is like if you can get into some good research university, then there you will have much more like more problem statements then that might excite you.
Correct.
So the awareness increases. That's what I am trying to say. You have to be aware like what kind of research problems are there, what kind of study we can do. Is the study overdone or underdone? Like right now LLMs, it has gone to some kind of what do you call peak, where if you want to do research in NLP right now from scratch, you have to cover a lot of things.
That's true.
Lot of things from scratch for research point of view. It's not that easy. You just do LLMs. I know LLMs. It doesn't work like that. If you want to do research, if you want to publish a paper in some good journal, IEEE transaction papers or new rips or anything like that, you have to understand from the evolution of that NLP. So the NLP has gone to some like far extent. Like it's like it's in the peak right now. So I would say first try to get that awareness. What kind of problem statement are there? What kind of things that can be done which no one has done till now? For me, for my case, for research statement, mine is like EMG classification for ADL activities. So right now all the EMG classification were for hand activities. So our sir Anish sir has ADL datasets. So based on the ADL datasets, there are very few papers on ADL. By ADL work, because it's been popular, like it has been popular since 2-3 years. So right now I have the scope for extending my research work, and I can get some good publications in that if I do some good research. So basically this has some meaning, like if you start, like you can do it on your own, but for NLP you have to start everything from scratch. You have to understand the basics, you have to get it right. For understanding the basics and getting up to LLMs itself, it takes like 2 years. Then you have to, when will you do research, when will you do honors? So it's not like you go for LLMs, it doesn't work like that. I would say for BTech, if you are in second year or third year, just try to do some projects on LLM, but research wise, you first try to explore all the research areas, what are all there. Then you try to do that. For some fellows, they might be interested in space explorations, like dealing with geospatial data.
Yeah.
So Arun sir has some pretty good experience on geospatial data. So, and that is heavily relied on images, hyperspectral images. That is one research. So that even that research, it's not easy. So few might have interest in that. So it's like first try to have some awareness, go to all faculty, speak with them, what kind of research can be done under them. Then you go for honors, and honors you try to mainly focus on this, and also you try to do some side hustles in your free time, as you said, like do these LLMs. Basically this takes like very less time, like 30 minutes if you are not doing any fine tuning.
Correct.
And if you are well versed with fine tuning, you can do it in like 1 hour after some point of time. You just have to keep the data set in proper format. You just have to fine tune it.
Just leave it for training.
Leave it for training, and it will train, and you can just test it. So these are some side hustles where you can do. But your main focus should be on research. For research students I'm particularly talking, you have to focus on the major parts. The major thing in why AI works is back propagation algorithm.
Correct.
Why back propagation algorithm works? What is the math behind it? Why optimizers based on this back propagation algorithm works? What is learning rate scheduler? So what is this? How it works? What is the maths behind it? So basically, you have to learn. You have to get good grip of these things, because ultimately these are the things that will be used in the next things also, like in LLMs or whatever field you go. These are the things that will be repeated. If you don't know how these things works, then what is the use of being a researcher?
Correct.
So focus on your basics. If you are a maths guy, focus on probability statistics. Pretty much every field requires probability statistics. If you are a data visualization expert or something, basically data science is mostly on data like
Pre-processing and visualizing.
Pre-processing, yes. So right now everyone is using LLMs for data science. Like it's right now everything is mixed. Not data science in the sense it covers all the categories. Before data science only, it's like data pre-processing, understanding more about the data.
And visualizing that.
Yeah, right.
But now they are like, no, we'll do machine learning, deep learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even my Dell internship, it's data science internship. But the ultimate thing I did was Gen
LLMs. Yeah.
LLMs. So that's the thing. So if you are a maths guy, go for good this probability statistics. Then learn the basic stuff, basic optimizers, learn loss functions, learning rate schedulers, back propagation. So these things, then you go with faculty, talk with them, understand the problem statements, then pick a problem statement which you have, which it's pretty good. Like recently, few of the faculty have included LLMs and NLP in their profile also. Like Anushree ma'am has included NLP.
Yeah.
So you can, if you are really interested in NLP, then you can go talk with her, then ask her what can be done, how it should be done. Like then you can just get an awareness, then you take honors, then you pursue for side hustles, do these LLMs, other stuff. Basically, then for masters, you will be pretty much confident working with all kinds of data, all kind of areas. So that right now I'm currently exploring this medical field. So if I go to masters, the main point for masters is for me is basically to understand, to get the awareness, like what kind of problem statements are there, what kind of research statements everyone is doing, like what can be the future. Talk to faculty there, because they like if you go to some pretty good universities, they are from like top organizations in the world. Like they are like the state of the art. You can go to them, you can ask them your doubts. Your whole perspective might be changed after talking to them. So that's how talk to people. Only then you can understand what is there in AI. It's not limited just for LLMs. There is pretty much more important things than LLMs. One thing is like robotics also. If you are really into robotics, learn the math stuff, because robotics totally math stuff. So control theory, probability theory, statistics, all these things are required for robotics. Differential calculus. So yeah. So basically, keep a roadmap that these are the things exist. This is my thing. So right now I am doing this thing. So talk with people. If you want to go for masters, utilize it to the max. Talk with the senior people, like those who work in Google, Meta, because in some universities there might be people who might be from Meta, from Google, from top organizations. So you can talk with them. So talk to them, get an idea, then you decide. Then again you can decide if you want to do PhD in that particular field. That is one thing. So yeah, right now I don't have I have a goal that I have to do PhD, but I am not sure in what field. If it is worth it or not. Because if you go to PhD, 5 years you have to be in that field only. Like you have to do complete research on that in and out. So is it worth it for? Is it worth 5 years for that particular domain? So you will get all these answers only if you talk with the people. If you talk with the faculty. So basically get some awareness, get some motivation why you are doing this. So why you wanted to learn.
Okay, so that's a lot of information. We really had a good time with you. I think this podcast is mainly for the people who are in UG 2 and 3, because it's a lot of information, and it is actually important, and many of us had doubts regarding our honors and research part and everything. So thank you very much, Bhaiya, for coming to our podcast. We'll surely have one more podcast with you, and soon in the next semester before you go. Okay. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening to our podcast, and if you have any doubts, just go to the faculties. You go to the seniors. Bhaiya is there, and many other bhaiyas are there. They are all available in the AI, ML, and DataScience lab. So you can approach any of them.
Talk to people.
Yeah.
So talk to people. Talk to people. Get your basics right.
You first come to us. First come to Matrix. If Matrix people doesn't tell you,
you have many clubs right now. You are so like you people are lucky that at least there are like various clubs that are going on where you can go, you can ask them. For me at that time, I remember like it was only GDSC, and even in GDSC there were sessions on software development, not on AI. So as far as I remember. So I was not able to get the motivation, get the awareness. Only after speaking to Rakesh sir, okay, this is how research looks like. So basically get some awareness. So talk to people. Right now you have many clubs. Utilize your clubs. So that is very important. Interact with your seniors.
Yeah, that's important. That's very important.
If you are UG1, just go to some UG2, UG3, UG4. All
that has actually helped me a lot, and many of us a lot.
Yeah, just go with them, just tell them this is my research interest, with whom I have to talk about this. Definitely one of the UG member, they'll suggest you, okay, you go to
Ashraf Bhaiya, you go to Shivang Bhaiya, you go to Arav Bhaiya.
That guy will tell you all those things. Then go approach people, talk to people, and as I said, focus on basic stuff like basic mathematics, basic algorithms, basic things. Then you try to go talk to faculty, get there. What I would suggest is you do honors for that research experience, because everyone has to. I feel like if you do honors, then you can pretty much learn many things. As far as I feel, like you can learn a lot of things in research. If you are really interested in AI, whether it is corporate or research, doesn't matter. If if you do like honors degree here, like you can pretty much learn many things.
Okay. So thank you भैया, and thank you everyone for listening to our podcast, है ना? So in short, जाके पढ़ाई करो, है ना? Stay updated and feel free to communicate with Matrix and all the clubs, whom you feel are good for you, and seniors are always there for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank
Just
you very
ask
much.
them, don't be hesitant.
Yeah, don't be hesitant. That will actually help. They will actually help.
That will
because
help. That will definitely help. For
you are at our stage at some point.
because
of time.
only if I asked my senior, only then I came to know about this thing.
Or else you are frustrated because of software development.
Yeah, so just go ask them. Like just like there is not a single person. There might be multiple persons. So just go ask them.
Yeah. So that's it. And thank you very much. We'll see you in the third episode. Okay. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you.